So let's list off, let's first establish that it is real. We're all Mandela affected. All of us. I don't care if you say you aren't. You are. Everybody is. And I think I figured out why and how. Okay, let's go through a lot of the Mandela effects that are really, really intense. Ed McMahon. In my memory, he always worked for the Publishers Clearinghouse and would go door to door with a big check. And there's residuals with like Johnny Carson that in this reality, this is how the Mandela effect people allege it, but I think there's only one reality. But hear me out. And this reality has always worked for like Pacific something. It just sounds like nonsense, right? Okay, next up, C-3PO has always had the Mandela effect. Now all Star Wars, C-3PO always had a silver leg. In my mind, he was completely gold. Okay. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Apparently it was never said. It was now magic mirror on the wall. Nonsense. At the end of Star Wars, remember when Princess Leia was giving the medal to Luke and the medal to, Han Solo and like kissed him on the cheek, and then she gives a medal to Chewbacca. Well, now Chewbacca doesn't get a medal. Okay. The Smithsonian, can you guys finish it? The Smithsonian, fill in the blank. Let me know. Ready? The Smithsonian, let me know in the comments. I know it's sometimes better because people can just readjust, but the Smithsonian, no, it's not manipulated content. I have a complete theory. The Smithsonian, oh wait, I know there's a delay. Like there's a place called the Smithsonian. What's the second word after Smithsonian? South America has been moved on the map, right? I have it. Institute. It's now institution, and it's never been institute. You understand? That's why, like, Mandela people get so angry at people when they won't acknowledge how insane this is. It's the Smithsonian Institute, but now it forever has always been in all publications. You'll go back to a 1980 Time Life magazine, it'll say Smithsonian Institution. Right, okay. So we're right now we're acknowledging that this is a phenomenon. That this isn't just like faulty memory. But I'll get to what I believe. Okay. What does the DEA stand for? Drug Enforcement Agency, right? No, now it's administration. In New York City, there's Grand Central Station, right? No, now it's always been Grand Central Terminal. Sally Fields is now Sally Field. Christopher Reeves is now Christopher Reeve. He's never been Reeves. Just hear me out. I'm giving you a series of them so you understand that this is a phenomenon. One of agency, no, and now it's administration. Or no, now, yeah, administration. Never been agency. Agency. Nope. And if you go back in records, even in books from your attic, it's always been administration. There's a payoff to this. I'm not just here to scare you. That's why I don't talk about it much, because unless I understand it, there's no reason to keep people in this state. And I don't believe it's a psyop. I know it's real, but I also don't believe that reality is at all fluid. And I'll get to it. What? This is crazy. WTF is Grand Central Station? Nothing. I get, all right. Joel Osteen is now Joe Osteen. Oh, there's a ton that revolve around spelling, but I don't spell, so I don't care. Like Julius Irving and Kyrie Irving, now they have different spellings of their name. If you told me his name was spelled with a U, I'd believe you. I'm terrified. That's funny. It's like, I don't know how to spell. So with the exception of this one, because I always had trouble with this one, I don't know how to spell. I mean, I can spell, and I think it's helped me because I'm very auditory, and I really think spelling does mess with people's minds. So I'm glad I don't like spelling. But dilemma, Dilemna. There was always that N that I never understood. It's now dilemma without an N. Johnny Walker is now Johnny with an IE, not a Y. Okay, what did what did Hannibal Lecter say to Clarice? Anybody? Hello, Clarice. Right? Now he doesn't say hello, Clarice. What did that the bike thief say when he got beat up with the Rodney King stuff? What did Rodney King say when hello, Clarice? Now he says good morning. I'm dead serious. Just hear me out. Hello, Clarice. He's never said hello, Clarice in any movie now, even if it's VHS. What did Rodney King say? What did Rodney King say? Hello, Clarice. No, he's never said it now. And Gravy, yeah. But I think I figured it out. Because I've been studying this now for a while. Can't we all just get along? No. Now he says, can we just get along? Can't we all just get along? No. Now, in this reality now, it's the same reality. I'll get to it. Can we all just... Right. We all got that wrong. Okay. These were the two that woke me up to what I really think it is. Because two of the biggest ones that affected Mike Williams, Sejuque, and Brian Stanley were We Are the Champions by Queen. That in this reality, it's like, we are the champions. And then it just stops the song. And in their minds, it's of the world. That the song ended with of the world. Right? And they were both like, yeah, it's always been of the world. It never just ends with we are the champions and then dies off, right? And the other one is, it's the city I live in, the city of angels. And they're like, now it's City of Angel. It's not City of Angels. It's the city I live in, the city of Angel. It's not media manipulation. No. I think I got this. I think I got it figured out. But these are the two that got me. Okay, so we are the champions. Dun, dun. And now it just ends. It never stopped of the world. No, it did stop. And I'll get to that. And the city I live in, the city of angels. No, it was Angel. Okay, this is what I think happens. Let me first start off by saying I know that there isn't fluid reality, and it's because every single Mandela effect, and there's more, the heart used to be on the left side, now it's in the middle, where the Panama Canal is moved, okay, I get it. Every single example is mass knowledge. Whether it's movies, okay, here's another big one. The straw man now has a gun in Wizard of Oz. He now just has a gun. Right? Okay, hear me out. So, I do actual science, not what scientists claim. I start looking for patterns. I start doing experiments. I have theories. I test theories, yada, yada, yada. So, what I said last time I covered this is, does anybody have any Mandela effects that ever happened in their personal life? None. The smallest scale that I've ever seen is someone's town having like a street change, like a street name change in a town that a lot of people are like, yeah. But in your life, let me talk about my life. So again, if you approach it like science without emotion, so I'm not scared if reality is fluid. It doesn't affect me. So I'm like, okay, if reality is fluid, then my day, there will be details changing. Because every single Mandela effect, and right now, some people are so emotionally as elevated that they're probably already not tuning out. They're like, the straw man has a gun. Just hear me out. Actually remember the gun. Yeah, see, that's what snaps you out of it sometimes. Is like, so I'm extremely musical, right? I can play Bach by ear. My dad taught rhetoric, so I understand tension and release with words. Growing up, when I heard Queen, We Are the Champions, I always remembered since the 80s, since I first heard it as a kid, and I studied it and I thought about it a lot, that when they trailed off, it was an incredible amount of tension. And I was like, because I didn't see it as a fan. I wasn't viewing it as a fan. I wasn't in alpha state. I wasn't hypnotized. Because everything we're listening, you view in a hypnotized state. Whether it's books hypnotize you, repetitive eye movement. You know, when you say, are you getting sleepy with an eye, right? This is what you do when you read. Same with City I Live in, the City of Angel. Because when I first heard it, you know, I'm very lyrical, I'm very musical. I started thinking, what angel? Like, which angel? So I was snapped out of the alpha state. And then, so I wake up in the morning. I've been doing this now for a while. I've been really paying attention to the details in my life. So I get up, I think about the color of the chair, the color of the bedspread, my wife's name and birthday. I'm serious. You know, one of my goats we call chocolate and the other marshmallow because of where the spots are on their head, right? One has a white spot. So, you know, where everything is in my life. I have one pair of boots with no laces in it, one pair, you know. And so I'm looking at the details of my life nonstop for like the last month. And not only has nothing changed, not even close. There's not been one thing. Because before I'm like, maybe I just didn't notice it. Maybe it's so small. It's like, no, if Mandela was real, if our reality was actually fluid, there would be like this knife thing would just be like purple one day, you know? And so I'm looking at the sizes of my clothes, you know, the order of my hoodies. Like I don't usually think like this. I'm usually big picture Benjamin, right? So I start concluding, and I can conclude that if every single Mandela effect has to do with mass consciousness and not your personal life, none, not one, and tunes, right, but Looney Tunes, Cap'n Crunch, all that stuff, none is in your life. Like nobody's like, I woke up today and my wife spells her name differently. Yeah, like Franco Columbu, right? That's completely true, right? And so I've been paying attention now for a while as to this. And so this was a theory that Brian Stanley had that Mike Williams agreed with that I also believe is true. So this is how I'm starting to meld these theories. This part I didn't come up with, but it's very necessary. So they believe in this, and I trust these guys. They're honest people, that reality is fluid, right? But they believe that our memories are stored somewhere else, not in our mind. I also believe that that's true. I think our mind is a receiver, like our brain, our physical brain is a receiver because science has never found where memories are. And brain damage, what it is, it's more like dumping water on a computer that can't connect to the internet. And I also, this is a little more theoretical than what I just described with my reality not being fluid, but there is, in my view, there is mass consciousness. So when they say iCloud, connect to the cloud, I believe because our pineal gland has similar crystals that's in a cell phone. So what they, and I'll get to who they is, I have a very interesting theory on that one. They mimic reality in an upside down way. So the iCloud is just cloud normally. Now, something I'm even more theoretical about is that there's some consciousness in clouds. That's one of the reasons why I think you see them spraying stuff. But anyway, every Mandela effect is something that everyone knows and sees. It's nothing in your life. The human mind has a natural ability to solve problems and correct mistakes. So when art is, this is my theory, and I'm not saying that I'm 100% right, but this is the only thing that makes sense so far. In our personal life, we have a different connection, and I don't quite know where memories are stored or whatever, but it's not in the brain. That's why transhumanism is so wrong. They can't figure out how to put skills or memories or take memories in someone's brain besides giving them ether to wipe their brain out. Okay, just here, I know this is getting a little out there, but you have to understand it all together, or else I can't just say, well, then why are we changing hello Clarice and, you know, Luke, I'm your father, or all this stuff. So when we witness a movie or a song. We are the champions, dun dun, and then nothing comes after. The part of our mind that's collective consciousness starts fixing it. And we have no awareness of this. So if enough people feel like something's off about something, they start tinkering. And so then our collective cloud that we access based on mass consciousness, and I think this happens when you view the media in a alpha state, not a beta state, when there's less hertz, that this is approved science. When your mind goes slower, that's why they do like the spinning wheels whenever there's a news thing about to break. Then they spin the wheel to hypnotize you. When we view something like Wizard of Oz or something like this that we all know, we fix it. Like the straw man shouldn't have a gun. You know, like mirror, mirror on the wall is better than magic mirror on the wall. Can't we all just get along is much better. And this coming from a guy who knows it was Grand Central Station, the Smithsonian Institute. I'm not denying that when I access my memories, that's what it is. But the fact, and I challenge any Mandela effect person who like believes the world is fluid to show me when it happens in your life without collective consciousness. Because all these things are only connected to things that like 1 billion people have processed. And they slowly, and that's where residuals come in. Because as a comedian, where does creativity go? I don't know. This is a big enough jump, guys. Just let me finish this one out. As a comedian, when I mock, because a lot of residuals for Mandela effect are in mockery, in Wayne's World, in Johnny Carson makes fun of his buddy Ed McMahon by saying he works for, I can't even, what's that, Publishers Sweepstakes or whatever, with a big check that says Publishers Clearinghouse or whatever on it. You know, Golden Girls mocked it, all that, right? Mockery, the creative element of mockery starts mocking that which is better. Okay, here's a perfect example of how this works. And it's an illusion. It's tough to wrap your brain around. Because in my memory, Chewbacca got a medal. In my memory, C-3PO was always gold. In my memory, but it's like none of my memories about anything personal have anything like this in them. So it feels like you're watching a magic trick. And I don't think it's the elite doing it. I think that when someone creates something like, if you build it, they will come, is literally better writing than he will come, because at the time of the movie, they were trying to attract the baseball players. He will come doesn't make as much sense. The color magenta doesn't exist. Collective soul, right? All right. And this is whatever it's called. I'm Ed McMahon and blah, blah. That reality is different now. Smithsonian Institute, not institution, right? So I would be open to thinking that reality is fluid. Like, I'm not scared. But my scientific trial and error has led me to believe that isn't true, because it's never happened in my life. No tiny detail of my morning or afternoon or anything, like the colors of my alpacas don't change. Where the lock on the thing is. Like where I accidentally squirted milk on the side of a wall, of my shed wall, there was like mold growing in that streak. I looked at the arc of the streak. Like I'm paying attention to everything. Magenta does not exist. So the spectrum of light goes from basically red to purple, right? Red to purple. Because the way light works is it goes from radio waves, which is very, very low frequency. They're huge waves. And then the next one would be infrared, which is heat. And those are a little faster. And then comes visible light, which is a tiny spectrum. And then comes ultraviolet light, which is past purple, ultraviolet. And then comes X-ray, then gamma, right? Which is okay, so the actual light spectrum is a straight line. It goes from red to purple. Our eyes don't work that way. With the rods and the cones, we make a color wheel. So when colors combine to make other colors, It doesn't work on a line. In our mind, in our eye, it becomes a wheel. So they combined, our mind combines red and purple to make magenta in a circle that doesn't exist in reality. Okay, this is the light spectrum in our mind. That's it in reality. Red to purple, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, right? Violet and red in our mind create magenta, which does not exist in the world. We have created it in our mind. Magenta doesn't exist. Well, I mean, it exists. You can see magenta, but the color creation was in your processor, not in reality. There is no frequency of magenta. And so that is what I believe. This is my theory. Because Mandela effect has been really intriguing me for a while now. Because in my mind, there is no question that C-3PO is gold. I mean, but the thing that snapped me out of it was the non-alpha, the beta thinking about We Are the Champions and the City of Angel. Because as a lyricist and a musician, I found it interesting and I thought about it in my conscious mind. So it didn't start correcting. At no point was I correcting it. Because that's what we are. We're creative. We're very creative and we correct things in our mind. And then as a mass consciousness, we slowly correct problems. Because I believe that's the fear porn that the earth can ever die or that they can poison the earth or what are we doing? No, if we stop inputting, the earth naturally heals. It's a perfect closed system. The biblical evil is here, fact. But the system itself, it's like a garden that you just let go. It will heal itself. We don't have an ability of destroying nature. Which brings me to my final point. Isn't this good gravy? Because that's why I don't just talk about Mandela effect unless I have something to add, because it makes people very, very agitated. Because some of these things we're so confident that it is what we remember. And then it's so frustrating when someone else is just like, oh yeah, no, I mean, you can say Smithsonian, they say institute. And I go, no, it was institution. They go, oh, I guess it was. And you're like, that doesn't affect you? It's like the way out of it, the reason it's not scientifically accurate is because it's different for everyone. And it's all about what have you processed with your conscious mind versus your subconscious mind. The straw man should never have had a gun. That makes no sense. Why would the straw man have a gun? So while you're watching The Wizard of Oz, you're almost like making the gun go away. And it's like the mass consciousness that we access from our computer brain, our hardware, is what creates the Mandela effect. This is better than most college lectures? Yes. The average college professor is 30 IQ points dumber than me and also a liar. They lie for a living. So why wouldn't this be better? Sorry to sound a little cocky. My dad's a professor. I have a little, I really can't stand college lecturers. This is how gravy, or do I mean liquid? Right. It's liquid gravy. Okay, so this next little piece of gravy, I got to give a shout out to Sophia Smallstorm. Because this is where, when it comes to comedy specific jokes, I'm very protective. Where I'm like, no, Dave Chappelle, that's my joke. Because we craft a joke, someone steals it. It's basically like stealing someone's livelihood. But thoughts, we build on top of each other. We're all standing on the shoulders of giants. And sometimes, when people get protective, fancy pants and lollipops, that's basically a way where someone says that, I think, oh, that guy listens to me. It's kind of like when I say so-called blacks or so-called whites, someone's like, oh, that dude probably listens to Chronicles of Judah 144. And then the trolls say, everyone says so-called blacks, allegedly. And I'm like, we all know. It started rubbing off because it's a cool way of saying it. One thing that Quantum of Conscious rubbed off on me was truth drop. I'd never heard that. It's a great phrase. I use it all the time now. Because we're all building our language, our ability to communicate better. Crow 777, calling the sky a sky clock instead of astrology, changed my entire life. Because in my mind, astrology is stupid. It's for dumb girls or witches. Sky clock is like, oh, you look up at the constellation and you can figure out what season you're in. Brilliant. Changed my entire life. No, I mean, that's a little intense. But same with fear porn. I'd never heard that until Crow 777. It goes on and on and on. Gamma male. Vox Dead, he created that. The things we've created. No one's having more fun than us. Fancy pants and lollipops. We've popularized the grabbler, even though it was first penned by The Onion. But see, okay, so I'm just trying to show you how these things work. So Sophia Smallstorm was analyzing the underground elite projects in near Tennessee. There was like this. I don't quite remember the name of the actual project, but there was this pass and like 5 people died total. So they spent like billions of dollars over many years to construct a tunnel. And in that process, like 3 giant nuclear reactors disappeared. They had all this stuff for railways that just disappeared. All these caves, one of which was so big that you could fly a small plane inside that the public used to access, now all closed because of like some bat, and so you see the pattern that clearly there's underground tunnels and giant places where people can live being constructed. And then you look more and more at it and you realize that it's pretty obvious at this point that there is a subterranean, basically Hades, this underworld that the elites are creating for when the world goes to hell and everyone starts dying, and they go under there with their saunas and infinite light sources from nuclear energy. And Mike Williams had a great insight that a lot of these bagmen, a lot of the George Soros types that aren't really in control but are selling out their own people for a ticket into this paradise, will do whatever they can to get a spot, for when the Great Plague or the nuclear holocaust or whatever the world-ending thing is, and then they get to go in here, unlimited light, paradise, opulence, marble everywhere. And I believe that's true, that they have that underground. Here's the thing. It's hell. Okay, so that's why I called this Endgame for Elites, right? When they say the meek shall inherit the earth, I've been thinking about that a lot. I think there's a good chance that the quote-unquote elites, this is the problem with the elites, the problem with Lucifer, and when you really believe the Bible, or you really believe the Quran or the Torah, it's tough for some people to understand, but the basic story of the Quran and the Bible and the Torah, it's not as far off. I'm Christian, but it's like you still have the God and the devil. And that's why, hear me out, this is another far-fetched thing, in Lucifer and the temptation, and you have a lot of similar patterns. You know how we always say they? They, what are they doing? I'm going to start saying he, and I'll tell you why. Because it dawned on me that the Baphomet, Baal, Osiris, there's a Pan, all these names for the same deity, the one who tricked, the trickster, the tempter, the worm, it's a hermaphrodite. That's how it appears. It's the Baphomet is like a breasted goat with a ween, As these times are going on, what is one of the big pronouns they're trying to introduce? They. Don't call me he or she, call me they. I believe they is the devil. So when people say they are making, no, I'm going to start saying he. He. I'm not going to acknowledge his pronoun choice. I don't care if the Baphomet thinks he can put boobs on him and a goat head and no, he. Human beings don't profit from any of this. He. What are they up to? What are they doing at CERN? What are they doing in the banks? Well, I'll show you a bunch of mind-dead scientists desperately trying to get grants. That's not the root of evil. They is he. And he and her are trying to create a new pronoun, they. And so we keep saying they. Who's they? You know, is it the Jews? Is it the Jesuits? Is it the Satanists? Is it Hollywood? They is one dude. He. And he rebelled against God. So here's the thing. So he has created this grand trick because he can't rule us without constructs, without thinking that the moon, and for those of you just joining, the moon is translucent. Rewind this and watch it from the beginning. It's mind-blowing. BB, he is God. God is the only one in control. You're missing the point, but that's fine. So they is a trans pronoun. Okay, so what was I talking about before someone was a church hand? Bible lawyer. Oh, he. No, Big Bear. You're missing. No, you're missing it. Just please listen for a second. That makes sense. Yeah. And dude, this is gravy hypothesis. But just think about they. We can't track they. Who's they? And then you see one trans Baphomet type human say, I go by they. And I'm like, boom. So I believe they have created a giant underground paradise, right? The only problem is it isn't paradise. We can come up with another it. Maybe we should call it it, because maybe that bear has a slight point that he, the Most High, but like it, which is just, I'm not acknowledging they anymore. It can only rule us when we're under a false assumption. It can only rule us and scare us and tyrannize us when we believe that the earth is a spinning ball and the moon and a big bang. And it can only rule when they completely control the environment. Well, here's the problem. The world was created by God, the Most High, not it. And so when we're above the underworld, we can see the sun, we can see the moon, we always have an ability to repent, be forgiven, and thrive, right? The underworld, it will fail. It will become Hades because these idiot elites that think that they can outthink God the Most High, that they can outthink creation itself, they can outthink nature, which cannot be destroyed. These morons, and I mean morons because it's tragic, because they're still human, they can still be saved. These morons think that they can destroy the world with coronavirus and nuclear bombs. Dude, the amount of fakery, when you understand the level of deception, and it's all it. There's people at NASA that believe they're going to the moon, right? So it has created all these fears, and the elites, the high elite, the ones with so much power that they can make 3 million pound nuclear reactors disappear into the earth outside of Tennessee and no one asks any questions, right? They control the media, the narrative, all that. Okay, they're the most deceived. So they think that they can end it like Chernobyl and all these hoaxes. They believe in the Big Bang. They believe that God is to be overthrown. You can't end nature. Set off every bomb in the world. Set out all your pandemics. Give it 1,000 years. You'll see a frog. You'll see a deer. You can't. So they will go into the underworld of Hades. There may already be one, guys. This is probably, nothing's new under the sun. This may be happening over and over again. They may have cracked the code for eternal life. Not the eternal life of the Bible, but the eternal life of the transhuman, right? And guess what? Those doors at those caves will be locked. And the eternity, the paradise that they thought they were given, will become hell. And just like in the movie WALL-E, when the humans flee the destroyed world, that's why some of these movies, man, there's a lot of truth in them. The real truth drop of WALL-E isn't that humans will destroy the world and they have to leave. No, the truth drop of WALL-E is when they came back, it was fine. All they had to do was stop. All they had to do was stop sinning and speak the truth, and all the green came back. But they were so fat and degraded because they went to paradise as they thought. But it was not paradise. It was a living hell, and the only thing that saved them was WALL-E, which was the metaphor for Christ. That WALL-E, this outside force, saves these obese, people are like, no, how dare you, Disney? No, truth is truth. It may have been made for all the wrong reasons. All the wrong reasons. It may have been made to push environmentalism, Council of Rome, humans are a virus. Okay, the main thing is that as bad as it could ever get, when they came back, it was fine. There was deer, there was green grass, and they had to their eyes opened up again because the paradise they thought they created for themselves made them obese, baby-eating, incestual wretches. And that's what the elite are facing when they lock that door and they think they can create a new sun. They've tried to patent a sun. Do you guys know that? And some truthers don't understand God. They don't understand the Most High. They think that that's a fake sun. No, they're trying to make their own sun for Hades. This is what I believe. We're going off the rails on the gravy train. All right, that's the gravy for today. People in the 1800s thought that cave-dwelling people were hiding beneath the earth. It's seen over and over and over and over and over again. The underworld, Hades, River Styx, Gollum. It's constant. The Eye of Sauron, the Eye of Sauron. That's Osiris, Saturn. The one eye, but yet he has two eyes. The liar. When you go against God, and dude, this isn't churchy and shit. I understand. I've tried to go to some churches, and I don't feel God in there. I just want to get out of there. I understand people being against religion. I understand people reading the Bible and twisting it and perverting it in ways that it's unimaginable, and you think that they're... No. Read the scriptures. You know, it's like, that is true. And it's like, there is no escaping the Most High. You can't recreate this earth and hate. Imagine going in that door with your family because you've served the Eye of Sauron so good that you've been promised paradise, and the door locks, and they have a fake moon in there, a fake sun. They patented it with all these nuclear reactors. They can mimic it. It's a mimicry. It's the upside down. It's the true upside down. It's the literal upside down. BB, the master of crazy connections. Yeah, underworld and overworld. All right, I'm going to read some mail. Their paradise will become their prison. It already is. It already is. Because when you're operating on all these false assumptions, the world is a very, very stressful, depressing, and scary place. And the way evil works is they make you beg for it. They make you beg for it. If you don't beg for it, it doesn't come. They can't inflict. The devil must make you believe that all these tricks and hoaxes and horrors and temptations and material, all this stuff is so real that women in our generation are killing their own babies in their womb because of global warming. That's the trick. They make you do it. They don't rip the baby out of your womb. They make you beg for it. They make you say, I can't bring a child into this world because we are destroying it. That's a lie. And you just killed your baby because you believed the devil. They don't just kick in your door. And this is where courage comes in and bravery comes in. I know this because I'm not dead. I said a lot of truths with a name, with hundreds of thousands of YouTube followers, with, all this fear being sent at me, and I'm still here. I thought there was a chance someone was going to kill me. And it was like, well, it's that, or I agree that trans children is beautiful. And it was like those little moments of like, fuck it. Literally, it's not even that like heroic. There part of it was a little bit like, fuck them. At that moment, it wasn't like my pineal gland opening up to Jesus Christ and God saving me and seeing that. No, I'm just being honest, man. I was just like, fuck them. Let's see them try. And looking back, I'm like, okay, so if I'm still here, if I'm still crushing, if 7,000 people are watching me right now still, what the hell are people scared of? Like, the whole thing is a ghost story. And it's so funny because it wasn't, sometimes I wrestle with it. People, my story is inspiring with the trans kid stuff and standing up to Hollywood, but sometimes I feel like a twinge of a fraud. Not a fraud, but people don't know that part of it was just the absolute disdain for their threats. Now, I'm not going to call it self-destructive, but like part of it was just raw trauma-driven masculinity that was like, fuck you, try. And it happened after I realized who I was dealing with and what their end game was. All right, let's open some packages. Let's rewatch. Let's rewatch the moon. It's unbelievable. Oh, here's another thing. Let me just, now that you've heard the Jews call it a spiel, the Christians call it a sermon, the atheists call it a lecture. I don't care. It's all the same thing. It's a bunch of words that get you fired up. They can't fake what they don't understand. Now that we're suing Patreon, it's so easy to see how much we overthink the evil and wicked people of this world. They're trying to mimic the moon and the sun without even knowing what they are. So in the underworld, in these caves, and I definitely believe that they're there. Oh, we will create our own moon and our own. You don't know what it is because you're so arrogant. You're not even paying attention. They believe their own lies. How do you mimic what you don't understand? What you haven't thought through? What you haven't been shown by the grace of God? And you can't destroy the world. Look at what's happening to these gay wizards. Antarctica's glaciers are melting so fast you can swim in them in a Speedo. Even as someone who spends most of her time thinking about climate change, it's easy for me to forget about the looming danger of changes. You can't do anything like that. Nothing's new under the sun, and you will be born and you will die. And when you die, this world will not be harmed. You can set off all your bombs and release all your coronaviruses, and it can cause momentary destruction. But after you're dust, it'll be fine. Like, accept it. That's the irony of the atheist, is they're so pathetic, but so arrogant. It's like they think they're nothing. Billions of grains of sand on the beach. There's more stars and you're nothing. The Big Bang and evolution was just plasma and goo and mistakes. And okay, but out of that, they're like, I can destroy the world. No, you can't. All you can do is misguide the youth. All you can do is destroy yourself and degrade your soul. Our brain is a processor that's connected to up. It's not, your memory isn't right here. It's up there. That's why one thing that's been really blowing my mind recently is how important health is. Like me really dialing in to not eating sugar and drinking better water and detoxing and stuff. It's like my processor is going faster. And it's not like, it's like all it is it's accepting more. That's all it is. And it's like, wow, that's more mind-blowing to me than some of this heavy-duty gravy, because it's like, it's always been here. It's always, this truth is right here. It's undeniable. Okay, let's witness the moon gravy, and I'll open some mail.
Right there, that's Mars, folks. It's not going behind the moon. You can see Mars right there. Mars is supposed to be transitioning behind the moon, and it's right there. It is so cold here this morning. Yeah, there's Mars right there. It's twinkling right in behind the moon there, folks. I gotta go inside. My hands are frozen. But there's Mars. It's supposed to be transitioning behind the moon. It's supposed to reappear at a certain time. And of course, it's behind the moon, and the moon is transparent. You can see Mars right there in the middle. All right, folks. bullshit scientists can tell their own stories to somebody else. I'm tired of them. Alrighty, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Do you see why I don't even want to debate people about fake space stations? And you can't land on the moon. It's so dumb. And Crow predicted that 5 years ago, that if you track Mars in that exact location, you would be able to see Mars with that color of the crescent. And people want to call Neil deGrasse Tyson a scientist. So there's still going to be people that's like, how dare you? Like they're a little scared, but they're thinking about fleeing to their underground layers. And then the meek shall inherit the earth. Man's a legend. Yeah, I'm going to plug him again. His name is Mikey Smith / horizontally opposed with a Z. Moon is transparent. ... Mars inner crest and other anomalies. Let me see if it's gotten some views since we've been... Nice. Oh, great. 84 thumbs up, only 1 thumbs down. The beast hasn't been alerted yet. But imagine like knowing this stuff and having someone try and pitch you the lie now. It's so dumb. And then the beast shrinks. People are so scared that the beast is going to start thrashing. And it's like, oh, don't scare the beast, because now the beast is going to have to do even more. No, the beast becomes... It can either be your complete prison guard, or it can be one of those little Mexicans in Vegas that are just handing out flyers. You want to go, girls? You want girls? And you just go, no, get out of here, grab her. You go, oh, hey, you know, they're desperately trying to trick you. Without the trick, there's no power. None. It's like, but my precious money. Wait till the money breaks. May not happen. That's the thing. If you understand what money is, honestly, we might have. It's just not as scary as people think. If something fails, you can start a new method of barter. How would we do it? Well, if you read the Bible and you actually have a community with neighbors, it's kind of outlined. Okay, let's read some letters and I'll call it a day. And share this. This is Queen. I did say a hard F. I had 2 hard Fs. Has anyone seen Norm Macdonald's about the astronaut that didn't get famous? No, but he did make fun of Antarctica recently. Someone asked him about Antarctica and he goes, Antarctica? It claims to be a continent.